and it also improves children's social and emotional development. So messy play isn't just for the kids, it's a powerful tool for family well-being, which is such a beautiful thing.
Hello and welcome to Demystifying Child's Play. I'm Ruth Verco, and today I'm looking forward to chatting with Sam. She is a creative mum, a small business owner, and a lover of all things fun, colourful, and a little bit messy, which has led her to running Messy Mates. She knows and believes wholeheartedly how valuable play-based experiences are, not just for kids' development, but for connection, confidence, and joy. And running Messy Mates has allowed her to combine her passion for creativity and community by offering families a playful space to connect and explore without all the cleanup, which I'm sure for many of you is one of the biggest barriers to play. So welcome.
Thanks, Ruth. It's such a lovely introduction from you. And yes, the cleanup is definitely the best part that the parents are happiest to outsource.
Yes, definitely. So since you are now our resident messy play expert, what I'd love for you to share today is your top 5 tips or ideas or wonderings that you can share with parents about making messy play easier for them. So what would you start with?
My number one would be that messy play is a developmental goldmine. And I understand that messy play looks so chaotic from the outside, but what's really happening is that amazing developmental work. When kids get the opportunity to squish, pour, scoop, and mix, they're really strengthening those fine motor skills that support things like writing later on at school. And they're also learning things like cause and effect, problem solving, and building sensory integration, which is really important for how they process things in the world. Research actually shows that sensory play lays the foundation for brain pathways that are linked to language, reasoning, and emotional regulation. So while it can all be fun and games and it looks like fun and games, it's actually one of the best investments that we can make in our children's learning.
And I would wholeheartedly agree with you there. With my primary school hat on, working primarily with 5-year-olds, I can really tell those children that have had those fine motor skills in their play, those ones that have played with Play-Doh, who have been building, who have been moving their fingers, because they come into cutting and they come into writing in such a different stage than those that haven't had those fine motor activities. And as you said, messy play is such a great way to do it because kids naturally gravitate to mess. They're drawn to things that are a little bit fun, a little bit sticky. And so by utilizing messy play, it can just really help all those fine motor skills and then getting really into being ready for learning without being like, sit down, you need to hold this pencil the right way. So
Definitely.
With number 1 done, what would you say your second point would be?
The confidence and the creativity that it helps to give children. One of the things that I love the most about messy play is how there is no right or wrong way to play with it. It's so open-ended, and it's not about creating the perfect product at the end. It's just about the process that the child gets to explore as they're going through it. And the freedom of making any sort of mistakes that it takes away from them is so huge. And you can see it in the kids that, especially the ones that come often, their confidence, how they grow and realize that exploring is just such a beautiful thing to watch, that how they learn to play and the different ways they play is just, I love it. It gives me the warm fuzzy. I'm also a big advocate for giving children more opportunities to use their imagination. I think nowadays there's actually a lot of research again showing that children are losing that part of their imagination play because of the rise in screen time and structured activities that they're always doing. So messy play really brings it back to the children and how they want to create with it. And it's such a cool thing to see. So suddenly like a blob of slime might become a piece of cake, or like the rice in the rice tray turns into something completely different that I would have never in a million years thought to use in a way like that. And the accessories that we put in the trays for them to use, how they use it too. So this week, it's been really beautiful to see the kids that have used, I've got flowers and leaves and everything in a tray, and they've actually not used it as part of the dinosaur tray. They've really used it to create like flower gardens off to the side, and they've made flower pickings and taken it to mum like they've cut it out of the garden. It's so beautiful and it's so open-ended, and I just think it's so valuable for their developmental and well-being.
I think that's such a key there, what you're saying just at the end, is that you'd set up something for these kids to play with and then they did it a different way. And just leaning into it, because I see so many things on Instagram and Pinterest with these perfect setups and kids playing with them perfectly. But that is so adult-led. You can set things out, you can put things out for kids to play. But as you said, their imagination, their development comes when they have that freedom, they've got that safety to be able to do things as they want. They're able to go and go, oh, you know what? This actually doesn't, do dinosaurs for me. I'm going to go and do this or that or the other thing. And so they can really lean into their imagination, they can lean into their independence and their learning, which is so great. I absolutely love hearing that. And that's what I love talking to you already, is that we're both such play advocates, that we love just seeing and getting those warm fuzzies, seeing these kids play and seeing the connections between each other as kids, but also as their parents, which is so cool. So I think that probably goes quite well into your next point. So what's your point number 3?
Point number 3 is about connection time with the families. And I think nowadays, like, we live in such a busy world, and parents often feel like they're rushing from one thing to the next, whether that's housework or getting to all the birthday parties they're invited to. Like, we're such busy human beings. And Messy Play really offers that chance to slow down and really be present with your child. It's so beautiful to see here the mums and the children that get on the ground and they have that role play together, and it's just amazing. I love it. And it becomes not a thing about ticking boxes. It might be pouring water back and forth together or making silly patterns in the paint and the rice. Last week we had Play-Doh and there was like lots of tower building. We'll see how many towers you can make it to. And the mum and the son were knocking it down together. And there was so much laughter and joy. And those simple shared moments really create bonding time together. And unlike some play spaces where you go, where you're running around and you're climbing and squeezing yourself into small spaces or going down some crazy slides, which, like, don't get me wrong, I really love that part too. Messy Play gives you that different type of connection, and it's calmer, slower, and it lets you be with your child instead of actually chasing them. So there's also research that shows when parents join in on play, it helps strengthen the attachment, it lowers the stress in the parents and the child, and it also improves children's social and emotional development. So Messy Play isn't just for the kids. It's a powerful tool for family well-being, which is such a beautiful thing to be able to offer a community.
And again, I am so for all of that. I completely get what you mean when you're going to different play places where you've got to squeeze up towers to go and play with your kids. Being very near my due date with baby number 3, there's no way I'm squeezing up those places. And so being able to engage with my kids through different type of play, which can be sitting down a lot more. It's not running around. It's not climbing through weird angles. They do need that, definitely. But also that time to just stop, relax, and bond. Our life is so busy. Our phones are always binging. There's always something else to do. And so being able to just stop and put everything out for a little while and just be with our kids and follow their lead is so much fun. And this is where I'll just quickly bring it back to play schemas. When you understand the play schemas, those top 10 with its trajectory or construction or deconstruction, when you're building towers and breaking them down, you can lean into your child's play so much more, and that playtime can last longer, and everyone can have so much more fun and be so much more engaged. If you don't know anything about play schemas, make sure you have a look at playschemas.com, and I've got lots there. But going on from that, we kind of talked about messy play, but we haven't really addressed the mess. So what would number 4 be for you?
The barrier around having too much mess, and I really do understand this being the biggest reason that parents stay away from messy play at home. And honestly, sometimes in the shop, like, some people will walk past and decide it's too messy. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. Because who wants to be scraping Play-Doh off the carpet and, oh my gosh, the places you find slime and finding rice in your shoes 3 days later from when you've been playing with it. Or at my house, I find it in my cat's basket all the time. It's not fun. But that's why I brought Messy Mate to a mall space that's so accessible for parents. It means that families can just pop in, let their kids go in, explore, create a mess, and they don't have to think about the cleanup. They just literally pick up their kids, pick up their bags, and walk out the door. I really do live by the motto here of the messier, the merrier. The kids get the fun. I get the vacuum and the mop out at the end, and it just removes that stress factor, and it helps keep all the joy and the developmental benefits. So if mess is the barrier, the solution is having spaces like ours where parents outsource that.
And if there was just adding a top tip of containing mess at home, would you have any suggestions around that?
Yeah, I think outside, obviously not at the moment during winter, but outside is your best friend, because especially if you're using taste safe food, and I use like a lot of lentils and rice, and the birds love it afterwards. So we often throw it onto the grass for the birds to eat, or if we're playing on coffee grounds, we throw it in the vegetable garden afterwards. That would be my top tip. But if you're going to be doing it inside, I definitely recommend putting down a mat and then putting your tray down on top. You can buy messy trays that are a nice size, or you can just use your kitchen Tupperware containers, because they've got a high side that helps contain everything to not be chucked out everywhere. So that would be my top tips if you're going to be doing it at home.
So great. And for me, one of my top tips is the underbed storage containers. They're nice and low that kids can get in, and then they've got a clippable lid on top. So if you're wanting to come back to it, you can close it off when you don't want them in it, put it under the bed or somewhere else again, pull it out again. And then again, it's contained. You've got that lid on. Great for any wet activities as well, because it means you can put the lid on and not be worried about kids getting into the water without you being there as well. Okay, those are some wonderful top 4 tips. So what would your number 5 be?
Another barrier of being my child is too young or too old. And it's such a big misconception in messy play because it's not only for toddlers, because it can be adapted for almost any age. For babies, it might look like different textures or materials and that sort of thing on the ground, and definitely taste safe, edible play. I'm a very big advocate for that. And for preschoolers, lots of digging, pouring and splashing. Although the babies love to splash too. I quite often have watermarks like my walls from the babies getting in and making a big mess. Quite fun. And then for the older kids, it definitely gets more complex, but so much fun. The science-based things that we do, the creative art projects. My favorite one was the DIY sensory tray that we did, and it was really nice to see the concentration and the fine motor skills that they used to be able to put this tray together and create something they spent an hour putting together, and it was this beautiful art project they made. And it's also not just for kids. I quite often have older parents stopping at my door asking if they can come in and play too, if I'll set up sessions for the older people. So play really has no limit, no age limit at all. And I like to say that it evolves as children grow, but sometimes the grown-ups just want to turn too.
That is such a key. I know that I find if I'm doing Play-Doh with my boys, I'll just be sitting there and before I know it, I've got some Play-Doh in my hand that I'm just squishing and playing and making things as well. So the whole my kid is too old. If you're an adult who's enjoying it too, there is no such thing as too old. And if you have got yourself kind of a bit more adverse to messy play, it might take you a little bit of time to really get into it, enjoy it, and having that feeling on your hands again. But it is so beneficial for our kids to have these feelings on our hands at young ages because it helps them in so many different areas, whether it's walking bare feet on the grass or on sand or climbing trees. Having all these different experiences with their hands to start with really does help their body and their growth as they explore this world.
I so agree. And it's almost like for us, it can become like a therapeutic type of thing to go back to our inner child and really relive that.
Yes, that is so true. So you've shared some wonderful top 5 tips on getting kids into messy play and why it is so beneficial. So if any of your parents are on the fence thinking, oh, it's just too much hassle, don't worry. You will know now that it is going to be so beneficial for your kids and for you. If we want to follow you, if we want to find you, if we're only online, if we're not in Christchurch first, where would we find you?
So the best place to probably find us where I'm most active is on Instagram. So that's Messy Mates NZ. But everything like our sensory shop is all accessible on our website at www.messymates.co.nz. We also have Facebook.
And if we are in Christchurch, where would we find you?
This is the most exciting news because this actually just came through about 3 minutes before I popped on this call. We're currently in the Hub Hornby, but we're moving to another shop inside the mall, which is just towards the entrance. So we will open there in the middle of September. But for now, we are next to EB Games at the Hub Hornby, and we are open 5 to 6 days a week. And all our opening hours are normally on our website and our Instagram. I post things up on our story daily.
Fantastic. And don't worry about remembering any of these places or links because I'll have them on the blog. So that's playschemers.com/blog. And I'll be sharing them on Instagram as well. So if you've followed us from there, you'll be able to get all these because I'm sure you want to see all the fun that they're having through their Instagram and being able to connect on it if you are here in Christchurch. So thank you so much for joining us today. I've loved listening to you talk and I'm sure everyone else will too. So for everyone, remember today is a great day to play and I challenge you to do something messy this week and share it with us. Let us know. If you've ever wished that you had a group of parents who just get it, I would like to welcome you to the Play Schemers Collective. It's where you can ask questions without judgment, share those little wins only another parent would understand, and dive deeper into your child's play with people who speak your language. Join us at playschemers.com/collective for more information. We can't wait to have you on the inside.